Hey everybody, welcome to Indianapolis. This is a rapid reaction brought to you by Buyers Auto. I am Austin Ward. That is Spencer Holbrook. This is Lettermen Row's continuing coverage of the Ohio State Buckeyes and the NFL Combine. Spencer's going to get it started. He's going to go do some of the bench press later on in the show. That's sort of where business starts picking up. Ohio State's had the wide receivers and Jonah Jackson representing the offensive line and J.K. Dobbins meet the media. They've been measured and poked and prodded. Now some of the workouts will start to pick up for them. The wide receivers don't get to run, I don't believe, until tomorrow night, Spencer, but they'll be putting up the bench press. They'll be doing some other stuff. And you talked to them yesterday. They've got some intriguing bets going on, and those three guys are all trying to continue this rich tradition for Zone 6.
Last year was all about the speed of the three wide receivers. I think this year needs to be about the speed of these three wide receivers. I didn't expect the answer we got from Jonah Jackson, but he said that Austin Mack was going to win the 40. I thought it was going to be KJ Hill, but if he knows it a little better, if Austin Mack runs the fastest time, I think Ohio's just going to have some blazing times in the 40 from those wide receivers.
Well, I always got the long stride of Benjamin Victor too. Like, all three of these guys are, I don't know, underrated is not the right word. They were very productive during their careers, but other than KJ Hill with the Senior Bowl performance and the school record for receptions, like, there's just not a lot of buzz for those other two. It's kind of a big week for them.
I think it's the correct word is undervalued. Underrated, I don't know if it's a great word, because if you gave them a rating, they might be still pretty high because of their skills. But they're just undervalued. They weren't used as much as some of the typical NFL wide receivers when they were in college, just because of the depth of that room. When you got three guys that go to the NFL the year before and then three more, that shows you what's going on in Brian Hartline's room. I just think these guys are undervalued just enough where somebody's going to get a really nice steal for both Benjamin Victor and Austin Mack, because I think KJ Hill will have some value there.
It's interesting to put that spin on it when we're here at the Combine. You can't help but look ahead. We cover Ohio State football, not the NFL. And when you're losing three guys who are at the Combine 2 years in a row, that's a lot of attrition in that wide receiver room. And there's still extremely high confidence that Brian Hartline and Ryan Day are going to put a product out there at wide receiver, because you have Chris Olave, you have Garrett Wilson. People are waiting a little bit to see if Jalen Harris can take a next step. Jameson Williams just got a taste of that. And then these four, really touted freshmen. Like, you still have guys, but there was that sense from talking to Austin Mack in particular yesterday. He was like, I think maybe next year won't be 6. And a lot of that is going to depend on these freshmen. And if Chris Olave is playing like a guy through 3 years who could declare early and then come work out here.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see, because you've got, like you said, a guy like Jalen Harris, who a couple of the wide receivers said, that guy's got to step up next year. They at least mentioned his name, and that means that he's doing something that's getting people, saying his name a little bit more. But those freshman wide receivers, man, it's going to be hard to keep them off the field. If they go fewer than 6 in a rotation, I'll be surprised, but hey, maybe I shouldn't be, because if those guys are saying it, they know better than I do.
When you're at running back, you only have to lose one for it to be a big deal, especially if it's a guy who ran for 2,000 yards. And J.K. Dobbins stood up there at the podium. He talked about, the high ankle sprain, how much it hurt, how people have now questioned his hands because of the drop, the screen drop, and then the other one that was, a little iffy at the goal line in the Fiesta Bowl. It's almost like he's always had this enormous chip on his shoulder. That's going to be exacerbated again here as he tries to prove himself. But
it's just another chance for him to prove people wrong, because now, the guy has – they're the only 2 drops I can think of in his career. I mean, if you could think of a few more, go ahead. But, I just can't think of them. And now he's got hands questions. Maybe he'll have a durability question because of the ankle, just one game.
Because he didn't get to play so many second halves.
Yeah, it's just – he's always been the guy that's had to prove people wrong, and 2,000 yards didn't do the trick, so these NFL workouts aren't going to do the trick, I imagine. You might see him fall a little bit in this draft, but it's pretty crazy to me that a guy can run for 2,000 yards in a season, win no awards from his own conference, and still fly under the radar here at the NFL Combine with all the people who are supposed to know the game best in attendance.
And part of the reason it's such a big deal for Ohio State as spring ball starts on Monday with the running back is that it's not that nobody believes that Master Teague or Marcus Crowley when he's healthy, or Steel Chambers or Mayan Williams down the road, or who knows what will happen with Demario McCall in his position if he can help this season. We'll see when practice starts. But those guys are all good players, and they were recruited for a reason. But this, J.K. Dobbins was a special back. And you look at the school record book, and it reflects that. That's why it's such a big deal going into spring, because that guy could do everything for you. And I think when you look at especially Master Teague right now, you're not sure if he can handle the every down load the way J.K. Dobbins did. J.K. went to bat for him. He said you shouldn't be judging him off of getting thrust into the Clemson game when he got hurt. but that's the last thing we've got to look at.
That's what everybody does. It's the same thing as him getting questions on his hands because of the last game. The last impression we had was him not, just be frankly, not playing very well.
Yeah.
And J.K. Dobbins is one of those guys where anytime he was on the field, there was an energy about the offense. And when Master Teague went in the game, it was more of a, okay, there's going to be a bruising element to this offense. It's not going to be very much as explosive. Well, now he's got to show that he can do that because J.K. Dobbins can't be explosive anymore at Ohio State. And so now the question is, can Master Teague take the next step and not just be the secondary back in this offense that comes in and puts a toll onto the defense, but can he be the guy who's just as explosive as J.K. Dobbins was? And we've seen it a couple times. The Northwestern game, we saw it. I turned my back to, I think, take an Instagram picture for the Instagram story. Follow us at Lettermen Row. And, he ran 74 yards or whatever. But, it can happen. He just has to prove it.
All right, so is Jonah Jackson going to be the first interior lineman off the board?
I don't think so. I think he's also a guy that's undervalued. I think he'll probably be second or third. I couldn't tell you who's going to be, but somebody will talk themselves out of Jonah Jackson because it's this.
I think you have to. You have to be talking yourself out of him because there shouldn't be any difficulty getting into him. I mean, you asked him about that pancake knockdown block tally. He led Ohio State with that on one of the best offensive lines in the country. He's experienced highs and lows. He went through a really rough patch of adversity at Rutgers. If he's going to a bad team, he's not going to have a problem getting down about wins and losses. He's been through all that. He's also won at an extremely high level. And Jonah Jackson, I'm not sure what more you could ask for in a guard.
5 offensive coordinators. So if you want a guy who can jump into your system, learn the system right away, 5 offensive coordinators in 5 years.
Yeah, that was during that long run for the Scarlet Knights where their offensive coordinator position, I think it was 8 years in a row, maybe 9 years in a row. It was like, Hogwarts in Defense Against the Dark Arts. They could not have a guy for more than a year. Yeah, I went there. We're getting really into the weeds here on Rapid Reaction.
It's the combine. That's what everybody does.
Hey, we're getting creative, and you can tell that spring ball's getting ready to start because we're ready to start talking about all that stuff. We can't help it here. This has been a special Rapid Reaction brought to you by Byers Auto. When you're buying an auto, make sure you go to Byers Auto. That's Spencer Holbrook. I am Austin Ward. We'll be here all week covering these Buckeyes at the NFL Combine and getting ready for next Monday as Ohio State hits the practice field. So until next time, we'll see you then.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe below to get the latest videos from Lettermen Row.
We got Letterman Live, we've got the practice report, we got Rapid Reaction. Hey, and we got Buckeye IQ with Zach Bourne.
For sure. We got recruiting breakdowns with Berm. We got whatever you need. Ohio State football and Ohio State athletics, we've got you covered here at Lettermen Row.